Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for some more Singapore Sevens. This matchup, Ireland versus Fiji. Now, this is extremely crucial for the Fijians in the overall tournament. At the moment, they've been underperforming. They've had 2 losses in a row, but this game is the one that they do want to turn it around, and it is the perfect time to do so. Up against the Irish, who are not an easy side to beat, but have also been having some 50-50 moments, I would say, throughout this competition. They find themselves in second at the moment on the 4 points. Fijian points differential at the moment is -24. And the danger thing is, if the USA lose their game up against Great Britain, it all of a sudden becomes Ireland versus Fiji for who will be the 3rd place team. But pretty much Fiji, to get out of the bottom, would have to win this game by around 15 points. It's going to be tough to do, but they have got the capabilities of being able to do so. Looking through at their starting lineup for this contest, for the Irish first of all, it is Gavin Mullen, Mark Roach, Terry Kennedy, Che Mullins, Harry McNulty, Jack Kelly, and Jordan Conroy. A very strong lineup for the Irish here, going with a lot of their big players. And at the starting side for the Fijians, it is going to be Viliami Naikalsa, Georgie Nasova, Ioani Teba, Sivo Mothinothangi, Tario Tamani, Ponipati Lognamasi, and Felipe Saturanga. Now, I like this lineup a lot more than I like the ones yesterday. They have still got a couple of those younger players in there, which I think is a bit of a risk. But then they also want that experience off the bench, such as someone like a Josefa Talatholo, to be able to close out the game. Well, Baker will learn from that moment. Yeah, it was a massive mistake from Perry Baker. Great Britain kicked the ball into touch, and they have won that game. So they will be making it through to the next stage. They're trying to keep their hopes and dreams alive of staying on the circuit. Both of these sides who are playing off now, Ireland and Fiji, of course, both secured for the 2024-25 series. It's just more of the question of who can get themselves the victory here and who will move on to the next stage. So now, like I said, Ireland, they have a points differential of +11. Fiji, they have a -24. So it's going to take a little bit to be able to turn this game around for the Fijians. Like I mentioned, around that 15-point win is required, which I believe is why they have stacked their team for this game to try and make it possible. Super Rugby today, yes, it certainly is. The second half of the Reds versus Crusaders game is just around the corner from getting underway. Currently, the score is sitting 14 points to 7 in favour of the Reds. So I think that the second half is going to be very intriguing to see how it goes. We will keep you updated in terms of who is scoring tries and everything along those lines in that contest as well, ladies and gentlemen. But this game, Ireland versus Fiji, 2nd versus 3rd on the overall circuit. There's a lot on the line. If Ireland can really get going here and manage to make their way through to the next stage, they could actually find themselves in the position of getting close to finishing first. But Fiji, it's the same boat for them. If they win this game and make it through to the next stage, they will also have a good chance of advancing into 2nd place. But I think that Harry McNulty, definitely one to watch out for the Irish. Also in their starting lineup, the fact that they've got Terry Kennedy is going to be very important for them. And Siva Mothinothangi, the captain of the Fijians, with Ponipati Lognamasi, Tario Tamani, Felipe Saturanga, Ioani Teba. I like this lineup a lot for the Fijians, I'll be honest. I feel like if they fire the way that we think they can, it's interesting though, the fact that they don't have Kimaneli Rasaku or Filippo Bokeyaro. I thought that they may have kept one of those two out there. But we're about to see whether or not it pays off. Ireland, they will be kicking off this one from left to right. And that game between the Crusaders and the Reds, ladies and gentlemen, is just kicking off for the second half as well. But now Roach getting ready to go here. How these rugby tournaments affect rankings of teams. So pretty much you get points for each leg of the competition, and then those overall points go into your overall rankings. It's kicked off short from Mark Roach. Fiji managing to slap their ball back, but it has been claimed by the Irish, and it is now going to be in the possession of the men in green. They need as many early tries as they can get to take Fiji out of the possibility of advancing. Going to the right-hand side for Ireland now once again. Good shot being put in on the midsection by Georgie Nasova. Counter ruck from Ioane Teba. In fact, 3 Fijian players looking for the ball. Beautifully poached. Looking for the pass on the outside, but it's back in the hands of Ireland, who have done extremely well to keep that ball on their side. Now, Terry Kennedy waiting for it patiently out on the wing. Here he goes. Chance out wide for the speedster. Breaking through 2 tackle attempts. Now carving through. Passes it on the outside to Harry McNulty. Georgie Nasova makes the tackle on him. 40 metres out from the line for the Irish after the first minute. Now Shane Mullins going across to Jordan Conroy. I mentioned about how the Fijian side was stacked, but the Irish are as well. That is the penalty won by Fiji for not releasing. And it's Sevon Mothinothangi who manages to win it. Here comes Dario Vailawa. He's through. He's an X-factor. And I have no idea why they haven't been starting him in more games, because he has already got himself the try for the Flying Fijians. And that is a great start for Fiji here. It looks like no famous Fiji 15s guys will be picked for Paris. Siaz Hanoi. I don't think there's been too many rumours around. I mean, I know that last time they did Semi Radradra as one of the players who came in from the Union side of things. Ioane Teba, this is actually his first leg of the Sevens since that Olympic gold medal, I believe. So it's been quite a while since we've seen that man in action. That kick has gone over from Dario Vailawa, and it now makes the score 7-0 in favour of the Fijians. As Ireland favourites to win this? Not at this stage now. Fiji are definitely favourites in this contest. Good afternoon from Melbourne. Come on, Fiji. My second favourite holiday place, and go Fiji go. Says Avakesh is going to be slapped back. Ireland have got that ball back though. Harry McNulty goes off to Terry Kennedy. Bit of a rough pass there going in behind Mullins. He's going to be held up partially by Ioane Teba before he wrestles his way to the ground. Terry Kennedy has been told to use it. Looking for that next gap. Goes out wide. Shane Mullins. Tackle there by Lorna Masi. Terry Kennedy back across to the right-hand side. I should mention in the Reds game there has been a try for Jeffrey Tuamunga-Allen, and there's going to be a try for the Irish here unless something drastic happens. Conroy gets the pass across, and it's put down for Gavin Mullen to score the try for the Irish. They keep going away from speedster Conroy's wing, says Hanoi. And what's happening with your favourite team, Crusaders, lol? Says a Blues neighbour. Yeah, the Reds scoring themselves their 3rd try of the contest now, ladies and gents, and it's Jeffrey Tuamunga-Allen who has been able to score it, which is more than impressive from that man. Jordan Conroy doesn't manage to get himself the try there, going for the drop kick, and that kick has gone over from the Irish, and it's now going to make the score 7-all between these two sides. Like I mentioned, the Fijians, to advance, or at least have a chance of advancing, need to win this game by 15 points. At the moment, looks like it's going to be relatively tricky to do so. Although they've got the ball back again. Naikalsa looking for that next pass on the halfway line. Ball's come out the back for Felipe Saturanga. Nice stepping from Ioane Teba, although the pass wasn't quite up to the same standard. Now Felipe Saturanga looping around, passing on the inside to Dario Vailawa, who finds the offload away to Ioane Teba. Looking for that next gap in the Irish defence, which normally doesn't break too often throughout a game of rugby sevens. Gets back up to his feet. He wasn't hold. Georgie Nasova, I should say, will walk in another try for the Fijians. He was close to being held in the breakdown, but he was told play on. So he gets back up and goes again and scores his 2nd try in the Singapore Sevens. I would score at the Reds game currently 21-7 in favour of the Reds. Jeffrey Tuamunga-Allen, the most recent man to be able to get himself the try. And come on, Fiji, you are hanging over the edge. Says Spider-Mick. Gone quiet now. Are you really a Crusaders fan just for clout? Says Blues name. But Georgie Nasova scores the try. Now the kick has gone over. 14 points to 7. Lead of 7 at the moment for the Fijians. They need to win this game by around that 15 mark, though I believe 3 tries would be the ideal scenario. Currently a 10-point difference between these two sides on the overall standings. But I should also mention, whoever wins this game is not confirmed to make their way to the quarterfinals. They are only in the running. So you never know. They could still both miss out on the next stage, which would open up the door for a lot of other sides to be able to pull off a victory. That ball's going to be lost backwards by the Irish. Now Jordan Conroy tackled well. Back across. Terry Kennedy. The pass over the top from Mullen goes to Roach. Now has to run it backwards by the looks of it to try and find that next gap. Pressure from the Fijians. Another offload to Mullen. Then to Kennedy. Still inside of their 22 here for the Irish, but now Jordan Conroy carves on the inside. Tackled 40 metres out from his try line. 1 minute remaining in this first half for Ireland. They need to pull back a try of their own. Big wide cut-out pass. Inside ball. Looping around the outside. McNulty. That was a little bit high. And the penalty does go the way of the Irish. 18. High tackle there. A little bit of a mistake. They showing Sivu Mothenothangi. I think it was actually Ponapati Loganamasi who made the first initial contact. Ex-Ulster player Jeff says Gregor. Also ex-Wasp player. Also ex-Hurricanes player. I think that's all of his sides that he's had in recent times. He gets passed around a little bit, old Jeffrey Tuamanga-Allen, in terms of whereabouts he's been over the last 5 or so years. And bro, I thought you were broadcasting the game between the Crusaders and the Reds, says DeVito. We were. We are still keeping you guys updated on what is happening in that game, though. Pretty much what happened was, initially I had someone lined up to do the second half for me while I did the Sevens, and then they cancelled. So I had to end up trying to do both at once. But currently in that game, it is 21 points to 7 at the moment, the way that it sits. But currently the Fijians in possession. Naikalsa goes across there to Harry McNulty, gets back up to his feet, has another go. On the halfway line at the moment, Tario Vailawa. Chance to go off to the left-hand side. Going to be pop pass back up for the Fijians. 21-7 for the Reds. Says Spider-Mech. Now Tario Vailawa gets back up to his feet. And it's the penalty for the Fijians. Another quick tap taken. Ioane Teba goes away to the right-hand side. That's the knock on there for the Fijians. It looks like Ireland are willing to try and go for one last attack here. Still the knock-on advantage. Now Terry Kennedy boots it in behind. He should win this foot race. The ball will sit up for him. And scores the try between the posts there for Terry Kennedy. And that'll make the score 14-14 heading into half-time. Crusaders getting very close to scoring a try here in the game up against the Reds. Currently only 10 metres out from the line, which is about where that ball pulled up for Terry Kennedy. And had plenty of speed to be able to pretty much outrun everyone around him and just casually jog that ball in. I think we just heard there the referee warning one of the Fijian players, saying too many times that they were talking to the referee, I believe. But now, 14 each. Now, Fiji will hate that last try because they went from a position of only needing to really score 2 tries, maybe 1 and a bit. Now they're in the position of they pretty much had to score 3 throughout the second half and stop the Irish from scoring any kind of points. So it's not going to be an easy one, but we'll see how it ends up going. Enjoy. Are you going to watch Super Rugby? Says Steen. And there as well, have fun. Currently, the Crusaders very close to being able to score themselves the try. The next game of the Sevens that is taking place, ladies and gentlemen, it is Samoa versus Spain. We are also going to be covering that one on the channel, followed by the matchup between South Africa and France, and then New Zealand versus Australia. So there is plenty of action just around the corner. Should be a very entertaining one. A moment, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. There we go. We're all sorted for the second half of this contest. Now, Fiji have got some pretty good players off their bench. We are going to get to see the likes of Josefa Talafolo making their way out onto the park. That New Zealand game at 5:15 will be worth watching. Absolutely. It will help confirm exactly who is through to what stage of the competition as well. Because quite a few of the groups have had unpredictable games which have left them coming down to this last game as the decider. It's the same with this group. Whoever wins this game isn't even confirmed to make it through to the next stage of the competition. Currently, the way that it sits, we see Samoa and Spain would both have a decent chance of making their way through if they can win big up against their opposition, and I'm talking really big in that regard. New Zealand, they have got their game up against Australia. Argentina have 4 points on the board. They have still got their game up against the Canadians, so they should make their way through. At the moment, it's looking like New Zealand will go through and the winner of this game. So it's going to be a lot on the line, but whoever wins this game needs to win it by a large margin. That is a big kick in behind from the Irish, kicking off long. Now to Riavalawa. He wants to go the full length of the field. He's tried the offload, and it looks like Jordan Conroy's been able to jump onto that ball. Ireland back in position. Now going with the pass to the left-hand side. Loose ball, picked up by the Fijians. Another big fend from Kiminelli Risaku, who recently made his way onto the field, trying to keep the Fijians fresh. Pass on the outside, goes to Felipe Saturanga, and he has knocked the ball on now. Just seems to be too many handling errors at the moment from the Fijians. Come on, Fiji, says Avakesh. And there as well. Come on, Fiji. There's Avakesh. And of course, we are still going to have the playoff games for 9th place, ladies and gentlemen, that we are covering. So even if both of these sides miss out on the next stage, we are still going to be live doing possibly their next game on the channel, I believe. They haven't actually shown us who is going to be playing who in the quarters as of yet. We know that South Africa have confirmed their spot. We know that Great Britain and the USA are both going to be through to the next stage, both fighting for that 8th place position. The ball's fed in by the Irish. Mark Roach goes across to, it's going to be Mullen again. Off to the left-hand side, passing out wide. Jordan Conroy for the corner. It's going to be caught by Ioane Teba, or is he? No, he's not. He's broken through. And it's another try now for the Irish. They will get themselves the 19 points to 14 lead. Now, that is going to be the try for the Crusaders as well, ladies and gentlemen. In their game up against the Reds, they have gone on to make the score now 14 points to 21. The score by Corey Callow. So, in-sync tries between these two sides, the Crusaders and Ireland here. But Ioane Teba just missing that tackle. It's a brutal one. Would have loved to be able to get him around the bootlaces and stop his momentum from moving forward. Unfortunately, that is not the way that it worked out. The kick has missed, though. The other game of the day, South Africa versus France. There's Andrew Watts here. That's going to be an absolutely awesome one. I am looking forward to seeing how it ends up going. All-time tries for Ireland. Jordan Conroy, 10 free of anyone else at the moment with 118. Kicked off now by the Irish, who are ahead by 5, but it's nicely taken by Josefa Talatholo. Thought about leaving the ball, gives it away to Riavalawa. Now Ioane Temba, pressure here on the Fijians. Ireland relentless at the moment on defence, and the ball was almost stolen by Terry Kennedy. It's quite surprising. He didn't get himself the turnover there. Here comes Naikaisa, going back across to Talatholo. Couldn't find that next pass that he was after. Now back across to the right-hand side here. Another step from the Fijians. Naikaisa gets it across to Saturanga. Fiji have not given up as of yet. They still want that last couple tries that they require. And that is going to be another penalty going the way of the Fijians. If they can score 3 tries in the next 3 minutes, that would almost be enough to at least take us down to the final moments in terms of points differential. But I believe it is still in favour of the Irish, even with those couple tries. But Fiji now with the Riavalawa sells the dummy. He is quick. He's just gone straight through again. And Fiji, what you're doing, says Avakesh. If this isn't proof that the Riavalawa should have been starting 90% of recent games rather than coming off the bench for 90% of the time, I don't know what is. Every time he's on the field, he is just such an impact player. They can't tackle him, and he's now brought it back to being 19-19. I'm predicting a New Zealand versus Australia final for the women's sevens, says Novmum. And it's normally the case, isn't it? New Zealand versus Australia. Every once in a while we get to see a different game. The Fiji have got their kick over, so that will now make the score 21 points to 19. I believe they need 2 more converted tries. And then that would take us very close down to the wire, because Fiji's points differential was minus 24. So if they won by 14, it still wouldn't be enough. Wait a minute. They've just mentioned that Fiji would actually be 7 points ahead as it stands now. But they wouldn't make the group stage. Instead, it would actually be France versus Great Britain, New Zealand versus Australia, Argentina. Oh, they just got rid of it. But they were just showing exactly who could be going through to each group of the playoffs. The last one is an intriguing one. It was going to be South Africa versus Ireland. Of course, we've heard a lot about that rivalry over recent times, mainly in the Union. Another penalty goes the way of the Fijians. Can they get back into this contest just that little bit more? They're already leading, but they need another try. Ioane Temba looking for the corner. Wasn't able to get there, but they are 5 metres out from the line. Josefa Talatholo. They were offside there, the Irish. And it looks like it is going to be play on. Now chance to fire it out wide. Naikosa, one more pass. It's another try for the Fijians. Logan Amasi scores it. He knows that they have to keep on scoring and keep on getting the points on the board. That is his first try in the Singapore Sevens. He's a little bit similar to Vailawa in terms of they just haven't given him enough opportunity throughout this competition. And in the game that they are giving him the chance, that's where the real impact is coming. Fiji again score. How many more tries do they need here? Doesn't go over. Fiji need more points, they have just said, because Ireland would get the bonus point. That is something I hadn't even thought about. If Ireland get themselves a bonus point in this game, it's over anyway. But Fiji need another try. They've kicked that one off long, and Ireland have been able to take it from inside of their 22. Another good tackle made on Harry McNulty, who has wrestled down to the ground. It's available for Ireland. Looking to pass it out wide. Now chance here for the Irish to fire back. Great tackle on the halfway line. Still 70 seconds remaining. But the way that they're talking, they're saying that if Fiji were to win this game, they would actually go through on the points differential, or at least due to the head-to-head result between the two sides. But Ireland, they cannot concede any more points they've just mentioned. That's a rough pass. And it's going to be loose. Knocked on by Kiminelli Rasaku, though. Now that'll be advantage over. No, they've gone back for it. That was a good call from the referee for the Irish, that is for sure. As it means that now they will have 30 seconds remaining in the live standings the way that it sits. Okay. It's going to be the scrum for the knock-on. I think Fiji was saying that it could have been advantage over. Go Fiji, go, come on. If Ireland try next, Fiji is a goner. And come on, Fiji, one more try, says Andrew Watts. So the way that these standings, once again, they are showing it. France versus Great Britain would be the opening quarter-final. Also Australia versus New Zealand. Oh, they got rid of it again, the bastard. Every time I try to take a photo of it, they take it down. But I'm starting to remember it more and more. I know that New Zealand versus Australia at the moment was set to be the second quarterfinals. Now going to the left-hand side, Ireland with 18 seconds remaining. Know that they pretty much just have to retreat here. It's a knock-on, and they'll go back now. Last chance for Fiji with a scrum. Connor O'Sullivan drops it. They didn't need to make mistakes there. They could have just hung on to it, and then all of a sudden they would have made it through. But if Fiji score now, I believe they are still in the running for being able to make their way through. And in fact, they'd have a pretty decent chance of making it to the quarterfinals, in which they would probably play South Africa. So that is a tough game of sevens. But you'd at least be through to the quarters. So that is a great start. But here we go. Fiji, last play of the day, goes across to them. Well, at least the last play of this game. Have they got one more game in them? They only need any form of point. Ioane Temba isolated. He's just thrown that ball away. That was a terrible decision from Ioane Temba. It's kicked into touch and Fiji are knocked out of the competition. I'm very confused at what Ioane Temba was thinking there. He's pretty much just gifted Ireland a spot possibility in the quarterfinals, but the Fijians will not advance to the quarterfinals of the competition, and it's never happened before, they've just said, but it is their own fault. At the end of the day, they took a risk of playing all these young players rather than their experienced guys, and it's ended up costing them in the long run. But now, Fiji, they will be playing off the 9th place in the near future, ladies and gents. There is another try for the Crusaders in that game. So now making the score 19 points to 21. It is getting closer between those two teams. But nonetheless, we will jump on to the next live stream now, ladies and gentlemen, which will be the one taking place between Samoa and Spain. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Be sure to pop over to that next live stream, and I will see you all for the next one.